Hello, welcome to this history program entitled Acholi and Lango History. This is its first episode with several others to follow. My name is Bosco Pio, the author of the book Acholi is Lango. Please subscribe to this channel, like and share the video. In this first episode, we will recap key points from my book Acholi is Lango. You might be wondering, what on earth is this guy talking about? How is Acholi Lango? Well, sit back and relax because this program will uncover indisputable evidence that Acholi and Lango share a common origin. Contrary to what has long been formally documented and taught in schools, that Acholi and Lango are people of separate origins, my research tells a different story. After many years of research on the two groups' key aspects, especially oral traditions, linguistic characteristics, and cultural practices, the evidence is clear: Acholi and Lango share a common ancestry. Furthermore, Dryburgh, the author of the 1923 book, The Lango, a Nilotic Tribe of Uganda, is credited with being the first researcher to prove this link. However, subsequent authors like Tarantino and Odwe have insisted on separate origins. To get to the bottom of this issue, we delve into the question, where did Acholi and Lango originate from? To answer this, we look at the origin of Lango and discover where Acholi fits in. Typically, there are two versions of the Lango origin: the Ethiopian origin and Sudan origin. The Ethiopian account, propagated by scholars like Tarantino and Odwe, posits that Lango is not Luo, but a Nilo-Hamitic group that split off from the Karamojong people who had migrated into Uganda from Ethiopia between 1500 and 1600. It asserts that when Lango arrived at their present home, they spoke an Ateker language similar to those of the Karamojong, Teso, Dodoth, and Turkana. It further claims that they lost their language and adopted the Luo language from an unknown Luo group. This version has serious credibility issues. First, it does not explain how, where, when, and from whom Lango acquired the Luo language they speak today. Second, it does not specify the route Lango followed from Lake Turkana to their present-day home. Third, there are no oral traditions in Lango culture to back this claim. Likewise, there are no traditions in Karamoja and Teso that link them to Lango people of northern Uganda. The second and the most credible version of Lango migration is the Sudan origin. This account posits that Lango originated from Shilluk, a Luo ethnic group in South Sudan. It gained more prominence after Dryburgh carried out thorough research on it between 1910 and 1923 and published a book I just mentioned earlier. It traces the Lango origin way back in the 1600s when the Shilluk community in Didinga Hills in the eastern part of South Sudan were joined by an Ateker group that had broken away from the Nilo-Hamitic migration. The Ateker group arrived in two clans known as Lango Lok and Lango Diang. These Lango clans settled in the southern areas of the Shilluk territory and had to share the only water source in the area with the Shilluk. It was this fusion of the three groups that started off the formation of Lango people. Because the Shilluk people greatly outnumbered the new group, the Lango clans lost their language and adopted the Luo language of the Shilluk group, marking the birth of Lango people and Lango language. Evidence of this fusion can be seen in some vocabulary that Ateker groups loaned to the Shilluk language, which later became Lango language. These include words such as Atekere, which means clan, Echuban, meaning gathering, Erionget, meaning organization, Toro, meaning mother, and others. Lango also adopted names of several human internal organs from them, including Emany, meaning liver, Itao, meaning heart, Oguru, meaning spine, and Angalura, meaning kidney. All these words are the same in the neighboring Ateker languages of Akarimojong and Ateso. In the late 1600s, a calamity, probably drought, war, or disease, forced the entire group to abandon the area and migrate southerly for over 200 kilometers up to Oture Hill in northern Uganda. By the time of the migration, the three groups had morphed into one large homogeneous ethnic group sharing one language, culture, and systems, and migrating as the Lango people. According to Lango oral tradition, the warlike Ateker clan of Arak, led by Olum Alwak, led the trek to Ture Hill. They moved quickly, kept ahead, and were the first to discover and settle at the hill, while the Shilluk majority followed them. This event is proof of the leadership role a Ateker group played in the migration process. No wonder their clan name Lao was adopted as the identity for the combined Shilluk and Lao group. However, much as they introduced the Lao word as the group's identity, the Shilluk's majority influence was dominant in most other areas, including language and naming culture. According to Lao oral tradition, names of leaders during that migration period were predominantly Shilluk's own names. For example, Olum of Atek, Olobo of Atek, Ochaya of Ukarwok, Olem of Adok, Obuan of Onywale Pieda, Odieng of Awu, and many others. This suggests 2 points. One, the numerical superiority of the Shilluk group in the fusion, and two, that people of Lao Olok and Laodiang had adopted Shilluk naming system. After several decades at Oture, Lao was again on the move, this time spreading in all directions, but with a larger group migrating to the south, west, and northwest. It is this mass exodus from Oture that marks the beginning of the Acholi's origin in Lao migration. Before delving deeper into this part of Acholi origin, it is important to note that two migratory routes created Acholi, the Luo migration and the Lao migration. Prior to the Lao migration, the Luo migration had occurred roughly half a century earlier, taking a southerly direction from South Sudan to Uganda along the River Nile. Although most people of the Luo migration continued further south into Kenya and Tanzania, a few groups remained in Acholi, especially along the River Nile. This notion of diverse ancestry is reflected in a common Acholi oral tradition which says Acholi go part, which means Acholi have diverse ancestral roots. It is important to note that during the Oture mass exit, both Acholi land and Lao land did not exist, save for a few scattered settlements of the Luo migration groups mentioned earlier. As a large mass of people streamed westward and northwestwards from Oture, they ended up in many areas now known as Acholi land and Lao land. Numerous oral traditions in Lao and Acholi confirm this event. For instance, according to the oral tradition of the Pageya people, one of the biggest clans in Acholi, they were part of the Otengoro clan at Oture Hill. During the mass exit, their forefather Agea broke away from the Otengoro clan and led his people into Acholi, where they became known as the Pageya people. Together with other groups, they established the Patiro chiefdom and are the largest of all the clans that form Patiro chiefdom. Today, over 10 clans have emerged from Pageya. There are numerous cases, including Patong, Awu, Kadwera, Ajer, Ponok, and many others that have ancestral tales similar to that of Pageya. In the process, the Oture influx created two distinct groups of people of Lango origin in Acholi land, assimilated and unassimilated. The assimilated category includes Lao clans and groups such as Pageya, Awu, and Patong, who have become Acholi by identity and culture. As we will discover in the subsequent episode, they, together with other groups from the Luo migration, founded Acholi as a people, culture, language, and system. The unassimilated group consists of those clans and groups that have maintained their Lao identity and continue to practice the Lao culture despite their settlements and villages falling in Acholi land. These groups are found in all Acholi districts with major concentrations in Acholi Lao border districts of Omoro, Agago, Pader, and Nuaya. There are no official figures about the number of non-assimilated Lao in Acholi. However, of all the 150 clans in Lao today, virtually every one of them has settlements of their members in various parts of Acholi. In some cases, the majority of a clan's population is in Acholi. Moreover, there are occasions when a clan leader, known as a Witong, is elected from the clan settlement in Acholi. In fact, some estimates suggest that the unassimilated are the majority in Omoro district and are more or less the majority in Agago district. In conclusion, it is evident that a vast majority of people in Acholi are of the Lao migration. To read more about the history of Acholi and Lango, get a copy of this book, Acholi is Lango. It's available in bookshops and supermarkets in Uganda. You can also order a copy or read online on the Amazon.com link in the comment section below. Till we meet again in the second episode. Goodbye.